is a war zone in some neighborhoods, with almost as many gangs as there are streets. Violence starts early and things can turn deadly quickly.
In tonight's Fox Files, Chris Hayes takes you to the streets for a raw look at gang life and how it threatens everyone.
My area, 10-7 Hoover Crips.
Everybody carrying a weapon. Females, kids.
I ain't supposed to be holding it, but if he run up on me, he gonna get it.
What's that?
6 deuce.
Shootings in the street.
Documented gang member.
Innocent people caught in the crossfire.
That's where the bullet at right there.
And shot up on the porch.
You might not always hear the connection to gangs, but talk to people in the inner city's toughest neighborhoods, and you'll find almost everyone has lost someone to gang violence. 16-year-old Simone Lindsay says she's lost 15 friends and relatives.
A brother, a cousin, well, a couple of cousins.
She says much of the killing is based on what street you live on.
You live by the gun, you die by the gun.
Murder is a constant threat.
You think you'll be murdered someday?
I'd rather not answer that question.
Mike is a 20-year-old member of the Anderson Crips in North St. Louis.
Gang, that's family. That's family away from family. That's family without sharing no blood.
What do you like about being in a gang?
I always got somebody to depend on, you know what I'm saying?
B is a Blood. Although Crips and Bloods are at war in some cities, B and Mike are friends. Like many gang members, they share the challenge of coming from broken families, devastated by violence.
I got a big brother now in the penitentiary.
What'd he do?
Armed robbery.
How old is he?
About 25.
You said you had 8 brothers, 9 brothers?
9 brothers.
Any of them in gangs?
All of them in gangs.
B says her father died in prison. Her grandmother raised her and doesn't know she's in a gang.
Your parents are supposed to raise you. Your parents are supposed to show you right from wrong and show you what you got to do. But when your parents is struggling so hard to pay rent, feed you and all this stuff, working 2 jobs, you rarely see your parents.
The highest number of killings in a single year in St. Louis was 267 in 1993. When the city had some 387,000 residents, that means the homicide rates per 100,000 people was 69 that year, but the population of St. Louis was continued to dwindle over the decades. Settling now with just over 300,000, the results this year's in a homicide rate that's projected to be at 79, a startling number that appears to exceed the rate for any other large U.S. city. Father Gregory Boyle had heard the exact same sad story, but it was occurring in East Los Angeles in the 1990s. Here, Father Gregory Boyle developed the idea of Homeboy Industries.
That an American soldier on duty in the Persian Gulf may have been safer there than on the streets of his hometown. The president might have added, especially if his hometown is Los Angeles. In Operation Desert Storm, fewer than 200 Americans died. In the streets of Los Angeles last year, 690 died in gang wars. There are some 100,000 gang members, homeboys they call themselves, in 850 Los Angeles gangs. And in those wars, there's no ceasefire.
Every day, life in the water.
Going to jail, getting shot, getting stabbed.
3 shots for attack 342.
It is kind of a serious game.
Darkness descends on Los Angeles and then another funeral. Another funeral where families, homeboys, and Father Greg Boyle would mourn.
In my 5 years here, I've buried 14 kids, and 10 just in 1990, and 3 just in this past week.
Father Boyle, with all the violence that comes with being a member of a gang, why do the youngsters in these neighborhoods continue to join up?
Well, I mean, part of the issue here is that gang activity and gang membership is such a thoroughly complex thing, you know. They're sort of a symptom of a lot of root problems like poverty and dysfunctional families and joblessness and failure of schools and despair, boredom. As long as those conditions out of which grow gangs exist, we're always going to have kids joining up gangs.
Father Greg is a priest of the streets in the community surrounding Dolores Mission. a community that includes 11 different gangs. When gangs claim a victim, Father Greg is often the first one called, even before police.
Father Gregory Boyle finally had enough. Father founded Homeboy Industries in an attempt to dissolve gang violence, and by doing this, he gave individuals a new sense of life. The synergy of Homeboy Industries has helped decrease gun violence among young people across California by 50 to 60% between 1992 and 2015. Gregory Boyle said that his information is cited from California Public Health Department. Homeboy Industries, an opportunity for a new life.
Services that we offer at Homeboy include everything that you imagine: case management, mental health, peer navigators, tattoo removal, a whole education department, including a partner high school to ensure people have a pathway to a high school diploma, and workforce development, which helps with career pathways and the last stages of our program. We're an employment first model, and so we want to plug in with a way to make a living and a life that provides sort of the relief that folks need. This idea of work on self and work, actually job training skills, come together in this beautiful way that creates identity. So we have Homegirl Cafe, Homeboy Bakery, Homeboy Silk Screen, Homeboy Farmers Markets, our newest venture, which is Homeboy Recycling. And in that, we create this community in which we all walk with each other to make each other better and to announce to the world that change is possible.